Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 250 of the Ask the Coach show, where PingSkills helps you improve your table tennis. Today, we'll talk about the final day of the Power of Practice competition. In the questions, we'll talk about how to modify your grip for the pendulum serve. We'll give some tips for picking a coach and discuss how to stay composed when things aren't going your way. I'm Jeff Plum, and as always, Super Coach Alois Rosario is here with me to answer your questions. Welcome, Alois.
Thank you, Jeffrey. And yes, show 250. That is huge.
It certainly is, Alois. Now, we do have some sad news, though, because you have got yourself a job at the Australian Bureau of Statistics in the mathematical department. So you're going to be working a lot of extra hours. So this is going to be our last show.
Yes, it is a bit unfortunate. So, I've got to be there early in the mornings. So new job, working with numbers. So pretty excited about that. So, unfortunately, won't have time to do the show, but we will still be doing all of our PingSkills videos and answering questions, etc. Yep.
Well, a big opportunity for you. Lots of maths, lots of numbers. So congratulations. Well done.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff.
You are welcome. All right. Now, Alois, let's talk about this day in history. What happened on this day in history?
Yeah, so today is the 1st of April, and it's April Fool's Day, a time for famous hoaxes and pranks. So just a little bit of, tried to delve into where this came from. And one theory is that it originated in India with the celebration of the spring equinox, where it was often marked by fooling people by sending them on fruitless errands. So another school of thought is that it began in 1582 in France, following the introduction of the Gregorian calendar, when New Year's Day was moved from the 25th of March to the 1st of April, New Year's week, to the 1st of January. So there's still a lot of dispute about the actual origins of April Fool's Day, but there's a couple of ideas or thoughts. There's been some good pranks pulled over the years as well.
Yeah, there certainly has. One of the most famous I remember in Australia anyway was on the news. They talked about cricketing legend Don Bradman, which a lot of people probably don't know if they don't play cricket, but he was a famous cricketer. He averaged scoring 100 runs, well, actually 99.94 runs every time he batted, which was nearly double anyone else. Just an amazing cricketer. And the news reporter said they went back through the records and found he actually scored an extra 6 runs in this test match that wasn't accounted for. So his average actually did move from 99.94 to 100. But it was an April Fool's Day joke.
Okay. And I was just reading about another one. So in 1998, Burger King ran an ad in USA Today saying that people could get a Whopper for left-handed people, which would be fantastic for me.
It would.
Yeah, and the contents were designed to drip out of the right-hand side instead of the left-hand side. So apparently lots of people went into the restaurant and requested the new left-handed burger.
Brilliant. Too funny. Now, Alois, you know what I did yesterday?
What did you do yesterday, Jeff?
I crossed my computer with a lifeguard. Now it's a screensaver. Then I crossed the same computer with an elephant.
Yeah.
And now it's got lots of memory.
Oh, Jeffrey.
And you know what I did then?
What did you do then?
I played it at chess and it beat me. But you know what? It was no match for me at kickboxing.
That's not funny.
That's funny. No match for me at kickboxing. Beat me at chess. It's Friday, so Friday funnies. Of course it's funny.
Yeah, that was Friday sort of funny.
You know what? Seeing as though you're going off to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, Alois, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start doing a job as a comedian. I'm gonna do stand up.
Yeah, I think don't give up your day job, Jeff.
All right. Now let's get into the questions, Alois, because that's what everybody wants to hear.
Absolutely. Me too.
Now Matthew Fisher has jumped on to the Google Q&A button and asked a question live on the show. So thank you, Matthew. He says, hey, Alois and Jeff, how do I get my hands on a PingSkills t-shirt? Thanks.
Yeah. So we do have some available on the site. If you go to the store page, so you just go up to the top and up there about there on the website, there's a store button. Click on there and then you will see a link to the merchandise. So get onto there and yeah, you can get one.
Have a look. Yeah, a slightly limited range. We used to have a different option, but that store shut down. But they had great shirts. So we are looking for some way to produce some shirts. So if anyone has any ideas on any good places to or how to source some shirts, let us know. We need some help in this area.
Yeah, we're sort of looking for on-demand, really. On-demand shirts, probably in the US. So, yeah, if you've got some good ideas, let us know, please.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks for the question, Matthew. All right. Now, you know what? I'm just going to skip around here, Alois. Get rid of one question. Now I'm going to go to the PingSkills questions of the day. And yesterday's was, do you have a good idea for a PingSkills question of the day?
Yeah, well, thanks, guys. We did get a few good ones. So Mark O'Reilly said 3-star orange plastic balls. So yeah, so I think he's thinking about, you know, should we have 3-star orange plastic balls? Thad said what? He wants to know who would win a match between Alois and Jeff. Now, that's not really a question, Thad. There's one word answer, and the answer is Alois. So, I mean, that's pretty easy sort of question.
And you know it is April Fool's, everyone. So when he says that, really means me.
Luke Blytheman said, what is an ebb jar? I don't know what that is, Luke, an ebb jar.
Yeah, no, maybe he's talking about an ebb jar.
Maybe. Or what do you serve at match point? I reckon you serve a ball. But yeah, no, that's probably a good question, Luke. But Jonathan has said, and we're going to use this for today, is should edge balls and net balls be considered out? So I think that's a good one. And so that is today's PingSkills question of the day. Should edge balls and net balls be considered out?
Good question. And jump onto the Facebook page or the PingSkills blog to answer that question. Love to hear your input. Yep. So, yeah, some good suggestions there. Maybe we can use that. What sort of serve do you serve at match point in the future? Maybe. Interesting on the orange plastic balls, Alois. Yeah, they don't have any of those yet. But that's because they were focusing on just making sure the white ones were good first. And maybe in the future they will start producing them.
Yeah, that is right. So there was a document that was produced by the ITTF that came out recently, and I've already put a link on our Facebook page to that document, so you can go there. It's about the new plastic balls. It's by Torsten Kunef, who's the equipment committee member in charge of ball approvals. So interesting document there, and there he does talk about why they haven't started producing orange balls as yet. So we'll put another link to that. But if you go to our PingSkills Facebook page, there is a link there on that as well.
Excellent. All right. Now, Alois, the Power of Practice Challenge, if you're still somewhere where it's the 31st of March, it's your last day. For us, it's over. What did you think of the whole Power of Practice competition?
Yeah, firstly, for me, from a personal point of view, I found it really interesting. It was good to learn a skill again. So, you know, I do learning in other areas, but not table tennis so much now, or, you know, I don't focus so much on a table tennis skill. So it was good to go back to learning a table tennis skill, and just see the processes that happen to me. And I think it helps me relate a little bit more to my coaching as well. So yeah, lots of things happened, you know, and I think probably the biggest lesson I got out of it was progression isn't linear. So we don't just progress like so. There are lots of little ups and downs along the way. And this was only like 31 days, you know, like it's a pretty short period of time in an overall, you know, table tennis skill point of view. But in those 31 days, there were lots of little ups and downs, and times when I was going, yes, I've got this, and times when, oh, I'm never going to get this. So, so for me, that was probably the biggest learning point. Yeah. So Jeff,
Yeah.
so I know that with you got probably bored with your skill fairly early on in the month.
A little bit, but yeah, and I guess just, you know, time commitments and other things. I didn't quite get as many practices towards the end of the month as I should have, you know. But I still want to do the 5 minutes, Alois. I'm pretty stubborn that way, so I think, you know, I'm going to keep practicing that on and off until I get a 5-minute rally.
Yeah, that's good, isn't it? Yeah. So interesting. So you've really got a definite goal in mind, and you know, even though you couldn't find time during the month, you're still pretty focused on it, which is great. But for me, the interesting thing with that was, I suppose it wasn't something that was drawing you like fanatically to it every single day. And maybe also the fact that you didn't, or it was a little bit harder to do than the spin catcher. So the spin catcher, all I needed was my bat and ball, and I could just go anywhere and film it. Whereas you did have to be at a table to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Slightly harder to do. And then, you know, I got 4 minutes, just over 4 minutes and stuff. So I think it's definitely possible too. So it wasn't like I don't think it's possible, but I still want to do it. And then, yeah, I don't know. I'm still keen on exploring the idea about the switching, whether that's possible, because that was really difficult. So, you know, maybe that's an area I will look at in the future as well.
Yeah, yeah. So do you think you're going to focus completely on that 5 minutes with the one side first, or do you think you'll keep switching between the one side and the two sides and the?
I think the 5 minutes first.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Indeed.
Good one.
Yep. And we had lots of people, Alois, doing the skills, and we're going to announce some winners shortly.
Yeah, so Monday we will announce the winners, just because today is still the 31st in a lot of places in the world. So on Monday we will announce the winners of the premium memberships for the competition, and it has been really good to see all the people that have been participating from around the world, from everywhere around the world. So thanks for joining in, and it'll be also interesting to get your feedback now on your learning process as well, and that is going to help us, and also it'll help other people just with that learning process too.
Yeah, so that's a great idea. So for all those people that have been sending in videos, why don't you think about doing like a summary video at the end, just saying what your experiences were, how you felt the learning process went, and what you learned about the whole thing. That would be great. All right. So yes, everyone, Monday we will announce the winners. We might have to do that on the website, Alois, because this is our last show because of your job doing numbers.
Good point.
Statistics.
Yes. Indeed. Good point.
Yeah, but we will figure out how to announce it somehow.
Yeah. And that summary video you were talking about, Jeff. So Ben Larkham did do a summary video, which I thought was really, really good, and that's what really attracted us to doing these challenges. So you can have a look at that summary video by Ben Larkham. His skill was bouncing the ball on the end of his bat. So yeah, thanks for alerting us to this, and thanks for doing that summary video too.
Yes, I'll put a link in the show notes to that video. It was a good video. Okay, now Victoria has jumped on and asked a question, Alois, live on the show. He says, would Waldner survive against the current players? I don't think so. I think the game is too fast and they're too strong at the moment. Waldner would have a chance, maybe in his prime. Your thoughts?
Yeah, well, today, if Waldner walked out from his house and went and played Marlong, yeah, Marlong would kill him. But yeah, it's always this interesting question, isn't it? If Waldner was born, in this time, or if this was his era, I think he would have progressed with them. He was just an exceptional talent. He had things that I haven't seen any other table tennis player possess, just the time that he had, his ability to see where the ball was. So I think he would be competitive with Marlong, Zhang Zike, Zhu Xin, all of those guys now, if this was his era.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Swedish team competed for such a long time against the Chinese team. I think Waldner won the World Championships in 89, runner-up in 87, and then Persson won it in 91. That's the singles. But then I think even Sweden, even in like 2000, they managed to win the World Teams Championship against China. So for a long time, Sweden were very competitive. And in the recent interview with Jorgen Persson that Table Tennis Daily did on their podcast, they asked Persson about whether he'd be able to beat these players, and he was kind of like, I think we would have found a way. So it was interesting. I guess they've got to have that sort of mental belief to be as good as they were.
Yeah, that is an interesting comment by Jorgen. And I mean, why not? Because as you said, they did compete with China, and China wasn't much worse in those days. I mean, they still had same number of players, same system. So yeah, so I think in their day, those Swedes were fantastic. Don't forget Eric Lind and Michael Appelgren and all those guys.
Absolutely. All right, let's get on to a question from Abhishek, who says, what are the different ways in which the shakehand grip can be modified for the pendulum serve and other spin serves?
Yeah, so Abhishek, for the pendulum serve, what you can do is take these three fingers away from the handle, definitely loosen them, and you can put them in a fist behind the handle there. So that then allows you to use your wrist in that movement there. So if you've got the fingers around the handle, you can't really use the wrist forwards and backwards very well, but you do use the wrist more side to side that way, which isn't as big a movement. So by doing that, we can now utilize the wrist in a full motion up and down that way. And that then allows us to get the bat to move faster, which in turn allows us to spin the ball faster. So that's the pendulum serve. But even all the other serves, the thing is to allow a bigger range of movement with your wrist. So even for the tomahawk serve, for example, you would just loosen these fingers here. Again, if you've got your wrist tight, okay, the wrist movement is only there. If you've got your fingers relaxed, you can use your wrist a lot further. So for the tomahawk serve, you can just loosen these fingers off, and that allows you a bigger range of movement. For the backhand serve, similar sort of thing. So instead of having a tight grip and only having that motion, just loosen these fingers off, and then you can utilize your wrist a lot more. So it's a lot about just loosening the little finger and the ring finger, especially off the grip.
Yeah, excellent question, Abhishek, and good to see you wanting to improve your serve. Such an important part of the game. All right, next question is from Leon, who says, how can I pick a coach? I went to a club and a few coaches approached me to coach me. It was quite overwhelming. Should I practice under a couple of coaches and see which coach I like best? Or should I just pick the best player or coach?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. If a coach came up and was, or if a lot of coaches came up and was sort of, in my face and wanting to coach me, I'd almost go, well, okay, thanks, but no thanks for now. I think firstly, when you're picking a coach, the most important thing is that they need to be interested in actually helping you to develop your game. So if they're interested in the financial reward for themselves, just get rid of them. It's not worth it. If they're interested in helping you with your game, that is much more important than even their table tennis knowledge, their table tennis ability. All of those things are secondary to their actual interest in your development. So that, for me, that's the bottom line. If you can find someone that's really wanting to help you to improve, then that's really, really important for me. And
interesting, Alois. But the financial part, surely the coach deserves to get paid, though.
Absolutely. But you can sort of tell, whether a coach is going through the motions of, just doing my hour, thanks for the money at the end, and they're really not that interested in seeing how much you develop. So yeah, for me, that's the important part.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So yeah, it is difficult though, isn't it? I guess you could talk to other players and see what their thoughts are on the coaches. But if you're new to a club, it's hard to gauge straight away.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? And I think probably the best thing is if you go to the club, watch these guys coaching and just observe them for a little while. That's probably the best thing as well. Just watch what they do. So yeah, maybe that's an idea.
Yeah, I think what I'd do, Alois, is just go to the club for a week or two, just play some games or get involved some other way, and then watch the coach, ask a few people, and then just pick one of them and try them for a while.
Yeah. And on the same question, Jared sent us through a comment on it, and he said, my friend who introduced me to table tennis gave me some helpful advice when I was in the same situation as you. He told me to ask the coaches, what's the easiest way for me to get really good at table tennis? And only the coaches who explain that there is no easy way to get good and that through hard work and dedication is the only way to get good, and actually care about improving you and helping you. Hope that helps. So yeah, another good comment there from Jared.
The old trick question. I like it. Good one. All right. The next question is from Stan, who says, in my experience, I've noticed that a few players, including myself, sometimes start to lose their composure, getting frustrated because of losing, which causes them to start losing more. Do you have any way to help keep composure?
Yeah, this is a big one, isn't it? So we see so often players are equal on ability, but it's just their mental ability and their emotional control that gets them over the line compared to someone else that isn't able to control themselves emotionally. How do you develop that emotional control? It's a long process. So one is to just start to recognize your feelings, start to recognize when you're starting to explode. What is happening to your body? When what are the little triggers that you find that make that happen? So if you can start to recognize those feelings early, then you've got a better chance of turning the tide a little bit. Then it's a matter of developing some techniques for yourself of how to change that behavior. Some simple ways are to, as soon as you start to feel those feelings start to well up, is to take a nice long deep breath, nice abdominal breath, and just start to focus on calming your breath and calming yourself down. Other ideas are, things like a pre-point routine, which just gets you to go through a routine which basically occupies your mind, so you haven't got time to start to think about, oh my goodness, you know, like, oh, I've just played a terrible shot, or I'm losing, or gee, I'm really close to winning here, I'm getting nervous, all those sorts of things. So yeah, lots of things that you can do, but it is a big question. It's not something you can just change straight away. We do have a section on sports psychology in our on our website, so go to that section, and there's some really interesting videos on there for you to have a look through as free members, and there's also a premium member video on there as well. So head to that section and just work your way through and just see if you can get some other ideas out of that too.
Yeah, it certainly is such a big topic, Alois, and I think that the old adage of taking it a point at a time is really the key to the whole thing, but that's not easy to do. If you can just focus on each point individually, not worry about everything else, then you're going to be doing well. But, you know, it's hard to do that, and that's why it's such a big topic. As Alois said, check out all the videos on our sports psychology section. I'll put a link in the show notes. They really kind of frame that well. Good question, Stan. And, you know, it's good you've made a step by noticing this is happening. Now you can take some steps to improve in that area. All right. And now, Alois, a couple of quick questions live on the show from Victory. He said, please tell me when the next tour is and what it's called. Well, I think there's like a world tour that the ITTF runs, and they have events all the time. We just had the Qatar Open. The next one on April 9th is the Chile Open, and then on April 5th and April 20th is the Polish Open. So if you go to the ITTF website, you can see all the events on the Pro Tour.
And lucky the Polish Open isn't on Smigus Dingus Day, because you would get very wet.
You would. We found out that in another show. Smigus Dingus Day. Great day. All right. And then the other... Yes.
Yeah, Marston sort of got back to us and said, you know, the explanation that we gave about, you know, boys throwing water on girls is sort of a bit old. You know, that's sort of 50 years ago. Now, basically, everyone just has a water fight, you know, water balloons, water guns, and just everyone just gets very, very wet.
Brilliant. Love it. Smingus Dingus Day. We should do that here in Australia on Smingus Dingus Day. Just have a big water fight.
Smigus.
Get it right, Jeff. Smingus Day. Have a big water fight. Awesome.
Yes.
All right. Now, Victory wants to know, how much do you know about wrestling and WWE?
That was it. That's what I know.
Okay. Not a lot.
No.
All right, Alois. Well, there we go. Today, April 1st, our 250th and final show. Thanks, everyone, for watching. It's been a pleasure. Thanks, everyone. Make sure you check out PingSkills.com. Sign up for our free newsletter so you keep getting lots of tips from us, PingSkills.com. And thank you, Alois. Enjoy your number crunching at the Australian Bureau of Statistics.
Thanks, Jeff, and happy April Fool's Day. Bye.
Bye.